Welcome, Nathan. Thank you for attending this interview. I'll be pretty much going over cybersecurity functions for this position. Yes, thank you for having me here. Hopefully this will be good. Trying to get a job in cybersecurity. I'm really hoping that I'll impress you enough. Let's first go ahead and take a look at your resume. I see your resume has a bunch of coffee stains, scribbled, and you're really not prepared for this position. I mean, hell, your job descriptions are from Jamba Juice, the movie theater. I mean, what security tools do you even know? Do you know how to configure Splunk? Do you know a vulnerability scanning tool like ACAS? I mean, do you even know Windows or Linux operating system? No, I don't know any of those tools. Can I have the job? Oh, you don't know any of that stuff. Okay, well, I mean, we're looking for a brand new person. This will be very educational. When can you start? We're looking to hire you immediately. Well, I could start right now. I'd love to accept the position. Hey guys, welcome to this video. So as you can tell, that interview went kind of shitty, but I still ended up getting that first job. And that was along the lines of a real world scenario where I ended up getting a cybersecurity position and I did not know as many skills as I thought I did. And that really hindered my performance during that job. So I wanted to go ahead and create this video just to basically discuss the technical aspects of the job and what components would have helped me perform my job a lot better. And I'm making this so that it can help you guys too, because this is going to be a baseline of scenarios and technical tools that you need to learn how to use in order to advance your career and further grow and expand your knowledge on all this stuff, because there will be places where you won't get a lot of knowledge or expertise in. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with y'all. So basically, first up, one of the main things that I noticed when I went to my very beginning cybersecurity career was that I needed to know operating systems very well. And I just really didn't have that baseline knowledge. I had some Windows knowledge, but the type of work that I was doing was far beyond my pay grade, honestly, because I didn't know what I was doing in that field with operating systems. This was the first job that I had come across where I had to use Linux as an operating system. So if you guys are not familiar with what Linux is, it's just basically a open source version of an operating system, and it is very command line heavy. So if you don't know the command line, then you're pretty much hindering yourselves on knowing how to operate Linux, because that is a very intense command line heavy operating system. And if you don't know how to traverse the directory very well, modify or edit files, even zip everything up and send it to someone, or manage authentication and stuff like that, you're gonna have a really hard time in it if you don't study up on it. So my recommendation for anyone starting out in whatever IT or cybersecurity field is, number one, have a baseline understanding of operating systems and get to know them very well. Because when I first got into my career field, they didn't really tell me that I would be working with Windows or Linux operating systems. It was just kind of a basic generic job description. And when I had gotten in, they expected me to know those operating systems right off the bat, but I just, quite frankly didn't. So I had to learn that during off hours when I would get home, and that would be very time consuming. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just basically link down in the description below the resources that I had used to help me hone my skills in operating systems, because you're going to be working with those no matter what cybersecurity career field you do. If you're a information system security officer, you're a cyber analyst, you're a penetration tester, or you're somewhat of a manager, but you just have to be kind of good with PowerPoints and slides and stuff like that. But before you get to that management step, you have to know the technological functions of operating systems and how they work at a bare minimum. The next point that I wanted to go ahead and cover was ACAS. ACAS is pretty much referred to as a vulnerability management tool within the government. The synonymous term for that is also Tenable. So when I had gone into my first job, I had to go in and install a vulnerability management tool that would go ahead and scan the system to make sure that there are no vulnerabilities. If there are, go ahead and remediate that. I had to go ahead and install ACAS or Tenable on a Linux system. So that was very new to me and very hard. On top of that, with that whole tool, like I just wasn't familiar with that tool well enough to be able to go ahead and create policies, activate scans, put credentials in, and all that stuff. And that is just like one of the bare minimum components with being a blue team or even a red team type of cybersecurity professional. Those are, going to be very important components when you're in the field, because you need to know what vulnerabilities are out on your system and what to do with it and all that stuff. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I went through a course, ACAS. I'm going to go ahead and link the whole ACAS course that I went and attended a couple years ago. The information is still relevant. There's really not much that has changed with the software, with the exception of a few things, but you can always go ahead and go to the website as well to go ahead and brush up on those skills or even learn a new skill on that as well. And then the other piece I wanted to go ahead and cover was Splunk. So Splunk is a very important tool to go ahead and learn no matter what cybersecurity field that you go ahead and go into, or you can just be a Splunk administrator, just going ahead, installing, configuring, and maintaining the whole tool. But basically what Splunk is, it is a centralized place where you can go ahead and collect audit logs from every single host throughout the network. It can be anything from Windows and Linux hosts and any sort of cloud infrastructure and even containerized environments as well. So with Splunk, typically you can either install it on a Windows or Linux box as well, preferably Linux because it operates a lot smoother on that system. You're gonna have to, this kind of goes back to the first point, you're gonna have to know operating systems very well because these are cybersecurity tools that you're gonna have to implement. So Splunk, I went ahead and I had to go ahead and install it on a system, and I did not know how to do that whatsoever. The documentation was very vague, and I had to do a lot of self-learning on that tool, and it was pretty much because like we had a system that was already built for Splunk, but someone went ahead and wiped the whole thing, and the dude who administered it left. So I was stuck with configuring Splunk. So I had to do a lot of research on that. At that time, I was able to learn operating systems and all that. Splunk itself is a beast, and so you have to know how to set up every component. So like you're gonna have to know how to install it. You're gonna have to know how to configure forwarders on every single host that you can install forwarders on to collect all the data. You're gonna have to know how to forward all that data to the centralized Splunk server to collect all that. And on top of that, you're gonna have to know how to do searches, dashboards, and all that stuff. And so Splunk is a really cool tool, is very unique, and is like one of the industry leading cybersecurity tools for audit logging or even SOAR implementations. And I went ahead and developed a course basically on Splunk on Udemy. It's very cheap, it's $20, but Udemy has been doing a 50% off discount. So if you guys are wanting to go ahead and take a look at Splunk Course, I basically break everything down. It is super detailed, super comprehensive, and what I had done differently than what other instructors don't do is that I provided every single search that I have created thus far in my cybersecurity career field. I'm giving that to you. So this will be very useful for you because as a cybersecurity professional, no matter what industry standard you're going ahead and trying to comply with, whether it's RMF, COBOI, ITIL, whatever, you're gonna have to have a baseline, search to go ahead and look at user logging in and logging off, privilege escalation, privilege commands being ran. So I give you the base knowledge in the course, and then at the very end of it, you get all the searches that I've created. So if you are someone who is looking to get into Splunk, or you are already working on Splunk but don't have an idea of how that works, or even if you're an advanced user, you can go ahead and just take my searches and look like the rock star and not even have to worry about it. Let me tell you something, once you set up Splunk, it's pretty much a piece of cake. So I laid that out all for you. Those were basically the main points that I wanted to go ahead and hit at because I wish I knew these skills when I got my first job in cybersecurity. I didn't really go ahead and learn any of those skills until about my third year, and if I had known those skills a lot more, then that would have helped me advance in my career and I would be a lot further, quite frankly. And I'm just wanting to go ahead and just lay that out all on the ground for you, and I hope this video provided you guys insight as to kind of what type of tools you'll be dealing with and what type of technical aspects you'll have to know. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.